This isn't a tennis court for music. I have this opportunity to spark the future. History is made by Alex Eala. This was unexpected at barely 20 years old. History is made by Alex Eala. Tennis is being permanently changed by a young Filipina. Nobody could have imagined this when she first appeared on the WTA scene. A 20-year-old from Quezon City who is redefining possibilities and defying all expectations. Not only did Alex Eala win matches at the age of 20, but she also broke barriers. In a thrilling Guadalajara 125 Open final, she overcame a devastating first-set defeat to defeat Pana Advardi, becoming the first Filipino to win a WTA singles title. That wasn't all, though. She astonished the tennis world with an incredible run to the Miami Open semifinals earlier in the season, defeating several Grand Slam champions en route. She also became the first Filipino to reach a WTA final at the Eastbourne Open. She then made history as the first Filipino to win a main draw match at a Grand Slam by pulling off an incredible comeback on the largest platform of all, the US Open. This goes beyond a breakthrough. It's a story of perseverance, glory, and the kind of legacy that leaves the world in awe. It's a national moment. The narrative of Alex Eala didn't start on a WTA court or in the bright lights of a Grand Slam. It all started with a young girl practicing non-stop at Quezon City's tiny tennis courts while everyone else murmured doubts. People would shake their heads even in her early years, claiming that a Filipino girl could never succeed at the highest levels of tennis. The fire that burned inside her was beyond their comprehension. She wanted to do more than just play. Her goal was to create history. Her early years were spent juggling schoolwork, family obligations, and long practice sessions. Every racket swing and drop of perspiration felt like a step toward disproving those detractors. Additionally, Alex was honing her backhand, learning how to move precisely, and developing the mental toughness that would ultimately define her career while her contemporaries spent their afternoons in malls or watching cartoons. She stood out for more than just her talent. It was the way of thinking. Every training session was treated by Alex as if it were a Grand Slam final match point. She discovered early on that skill was insufficient on its own. Her weapons would be patience, resilience, and an unwavering faith in herself. She refused to let setbacks define her, even when she lost games and tournaments ended disappointingly. Every setback served as fuel. Every near miss serves as motivation to work harder. Alex's brilliance was evident by the time she was in her mid-teens. She rose through the ranks with a combination of grace and fury that astonished opponents as she started to dominate junior competitions. However, success presented fresh difficulties. She had to deal with the loneliness of living in Spain while training far from home. Her family was thousands of miles away. Her determination was put to the test by the solitude, the language, and the culture. She would sometimes lie awake at night, questioning whether the sacrifice had been worthwhile. But every morning she came back to the court stronger, more determined, and more focused than before. Doubt's murmurs never completely vanished. Critics claimed that her successes were coincidental and that the road to professional tennis was too difficult and harsh for a person from a country with little tennis history. However, Alex was already skilled at using criticism as inspiration. Every curious glance and doubtful remark served as a reminder that she had a story to write and that she was the only one qualified to do so. She was more than simply a potential player by the time she was in her late teens. She was a formidable force. She had depth in her game. Her mental toughness is unwavering and her approach is astute. Few people could really appreciate what she was capable of, but the world was now starting to take notice. Alex Eala wasn't merely trying to win. She was pursuing the past. And she would mutter to herself in the quiet moments before a game, when the stands were empty and the stadium lights were still out, "I couldn't," they said. "I'll do it." That straightforward statement propelled her across countries, into the hearts of admirers, and ultimately to a position where history itself would submit to her wishes. Although the tennis community had begun to pay attention, nobody was entirely ready for what Alex Eala was going to do. She entered the Miami's hard courts at the age of 20. Open with the subdued passion of someone who has everything to prove and nothing to lose. It was anticipated that the initial rounds would be standard, almost ceremonial. She was the underdog, a gifted young Filipina who had never faced the intense strain of top competition. It was evident from the first serve that something special was taking place. Every game became into a struggle for willpower in addition to skill. Alex showed a composure that belied her age when facing opponents with years of experience. Her bullets held the weight of someone who had practiced every day of her life for this particular moment, and her movements were accurate, even surgical. The fans went wild as she hit a forehand down the line that left her opponent motionless, but Alex hardly responded. She was locked in, concentrated, and conscious that every detail counted. Her third-round encounter with a previous Grand Slam champion was the pivotal moment. The audience anticipated that the seasoned player would rule, but Alex refused to back down. She played with a blend of boldness and grace, combining strength and skill in ways that left her rivals reeling. She summoned a level of mental resilience that even seasoned critics could not ignore, digging deeper every time she reached a breaking point. The stadium shouted in amazement as well as surprise when she won the final point. Alex was more than simply a budding star by the semifinals. She was destined to become a legend. Every victory seemed to defy the odds, and every upset fueled a surge of incredulity and exhilaration. Videos of her incredible rallies and daring play went viral on social media. Her bravery and tenacity drew admirers from the Philippines and around the globe. Her name started to be whispered by analysts alongside well-known victors. All of a sudden, the underdog story took center stage in the competition. However, the pressure persisted. Expectations increased with each win, and Alex felt the burden of a whole country on her shoulders. She wasn't merely having fun. She carried the pride of a nation that had never witnessed anyone achieve this degree of tennis notoriety, as well as the hopes of young athletes who had been told they couldn't succeed. Nevertheless, she flourished in the spotlight, utilizing it to hone her concentration and improve her performance. Alex accomplished what few people believed was possible by the end of the Miami Open. She had shocked the world, defeated several elite players, and declared her debut as a formidable opponent. It was more than a tournament run. It was a proclamation. On the international stage, a young Filipino girl silently declared, "I belong here." And one question remained in everyone's thoughts as she left the court, worn out but triumphant. Is this the start of something bigger? Something that would alter the view of a whole generation of sportsmen in addition to making history? For Alex Eala, the US Open, a venue for the greatest of the best, had always seemed like a far-off dream. With more than just a racket, she entered the court at the age of 20, the lights flashing and the crowd humming. She was a nation's hope. Every serve and return was a struggle against her own anxiety, pressure, and expectations. It looked like she may be crushed by the weight early in the fight. She was lagging after a string of unintentional mistakes, and the dream briefly seemed brittle. However, Alex's fortitude was most evident during the most trying times. She fought back with every point, gaining impetus from close losses. Her shots were fearless, her footwork was accurate, and her resolve was evident. Each rally served as evidence of years of selflessness, training away from home, and the conviction that she belonged at this level. A wave of celebration raced through the stadium and the Philippines when she won the last point. She won a main draw Grand Slam match, making history as the first Filipino to do so. A momentous occasion that brought fans to tears and garnered international attention. Praise, amazement, and incredulity exploded on social media. She was seen by young athletes as evidence that dreams might transcend limitations and that skill combined with determination may change the course of history. But the victory wasn't the only thing that was glorious. It happened during the trip. The sacrifices, the late-night practices, and the quiet moments of uncertainty she conquered. Alex had accomplished more than just winning a game. She had inspired pride, motivation, and optimism. One thing was clear as the fans applauded and the cameras flashed. The world had finally taken notice of Alex Eala, and history had been made. Alex Eala came to Guadalajara with one goal in mind: to win her first WTA singles championship, following the highs and lows of Grand Slam fights. The stakes had never been higher. Critics muttered that she only excelled in junior or minor competitions and that her prior victories were fanciful. But knowing that the true test was still to come, Alex exuded a serene assurance. She used a combination of strength, accuracy, and unwavering focus to dominate the difficult early rounds. Every match appeared to reflect her own journey, including hardships, disappointments, and times when everything was in jeopardy. She was behind and facing break points in a crucial quarterfinal, and she began to doubt herself. She refused to give an inch and saved every point, causing the audience to gasp. She made a statement with each racket swing. She wasn't present to take part. Her goal was to prevail. The tension was evident toward the end. Experienced and strong, her opponent had witnessed innumerable players falter under duress. However, Alex flourished. She was unable to grasp the first set. She didn't falter, though. She fought back with tenacity and resolve, making a statement with each point. It was a struggle of wills at every gathering. And it wasn't only her who was ecstatic when she eventually achieved victory. All around the Philippines, it was felt. It was Alex. She silenced skeptics and solidified her position in tennis history by being the first Filipino to ever capture a WTA singles trophy. But there was more to the triumph than just joy. It prompted introspection. The nation's expectations, the strain, the sacrifices, and the lonely practice nights had all come together at this precise time. And throughout it all, Alex had demonstrated that skill was insufficient on its own. She was characterized by her fortitude, bravery, and unwavering self-belief. History was created in Guadalajara, but it also served as a reminder that greatness comes from the struggles encountered along the path as much as from successes. And Alex Eala's journey was far from over. Alex Eala's career took off after Guadalajara. She had demonstrated her superior status by breaking into the top 50. Commentators applauded and fans rejoiced, but recognition also brought with it new demands. Every game turned into a test. Every competition was a stage where her youthful shoulders were burdened by expectations. Critics dismissed her successes as flashes of genius rather than proof of consistency, raising doubts about the sustainability of her achievement. But Alex tackled every obstacle head-on. She increased her training, improved her techniques, and welcomed the criticism as inspiration. Every victory confirmed her position. Every setback taught us to be resilient. Once weighty, the murmurs of uncertainty turned into fuel. She wasn't merely battling rivals on the court. She was defying